A lot is going on, Natasha. Good afternoon, everyone. Sean Combs' hearing began at 10 o'clock, starting promptly on time. He was found guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution back in July. Now, a little bit more perspective as far as what's going on inside the courtroom. We know that he will be speaking. He will be addressing the court at some point. However, the judge in this matter, Arun Subramanian, he actually gave statements earlier this morning saying to Combs himself that he has not shown any remorse at all, if you will, in connection with these crimes. For a little bit more perspective on this, I want to bring in defense attorney Phil Hamilton just to talk a little bit more about this. And Phil, just how do you process that coming out of the judge's mouth right on sentencing, like the first thing he said, basically?
As a defense attorney, that's something you never want to hear the judge say, because what that ultimately is signaling is that, number one, he's not going to get credit for the plea, right? The acceptance of responsibility. You get 3 points off, that can help mitigate your ultimate sentence. To the extent that he is going to say that Mr. Combs is not fully accepting responsibility, to the extent that he has not been remorseful, that's problematic. Number one. Number two, with respect to a lot of that acquitted conduct, that also is going to be something that Judge Subramanian is going to be considering, and that's something that came in. The defense fought vehemently against that because clearly you don't want your client's case being enhanced and the sentencing being enhanced based off of conduct that he's been acquitted for. But the signals that Judge Subramanian is sending, a little bit concerning for the defense.
So let's talk a little bit more about that. Now, we know the maximum sentence for each of those 2 charges is 10
right.
years. So he's looking at potentially 20 years. Now, we also know that the prosecution was asking for no less than 135 months, basically 11 years and 3 months. The defense is saying no more than 14, figuring in time served, that's about a year. He could possibly be out at the end. How much now, knowing what the judge is already saying, does that weigh into all of that even?
I think the heaviest weight on that end is he walking out today? And I think the comments that Judge Subramanian made, I would be a little bit surprised if he did, right? So ultimately, if he walks out today, even in light of what has been said, it'll be a little bit surprising simply because if he's going to consider the acquitted conduct, and if he said that he isn't remorseful, but then nevertheless is going to give him a sentence, say, of a year or a year and a half, something that he could walk out today, it would simply be surprising.
Okay, one second, we'll just swap out our mic. We have an open mic issue here, but we're going to keep right on rolling. We also know, in addition to Combs speaking, the court will also be hearing from his pastor as well as his children.
I apologize, people. This smoke alarm is just ridiculous.
Possibly Jane, but there's still no word. She, is just identified in court records as Jane in that regards. Can you talk a little bit about the impact statements weigh on days and decisions like this?
I mean, what I can tell you in 15 years of practice at this point, Antoine,